Okay. Quiet you. Good. Hi, everybody. Hello. Hi. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. Today is going to be so terrible. I have to do expense reports. I don't want to do it. I hate this. I hate this part of my job. So if you're all here and you're bored, let's hang out. It's going to be miserable. What time is it now? It's 9 o'clock. Hi. Hello. Good morning to you. Good afternoon. Good evening. Yeah, it's 9 o'clock in the morning, my time, 9:30. Hello. Respect from Ukraine. I have respect for Ukraine and respect to you from where I am, which is San Francisco. Yeah, good. So, yeah, today's going to be stupid. I want to get done before 9 o'clock tonight. That's my goal. It's just to get all of this done in the next 11 and a half hours. And hello from Tunisia. Nice to meet you. Salut. Bonjour. Hello. Yeah. So if you're here expecting some amazing stuff, well then you're definitely in the wrong channel. But if you're expecting me to write code today, you might also be disappointed as well because yeah, today we're just gonna hang out, talk, and do expense reports, which is I can't show you the expense reports. I'm just gonna do them and sit here, and you can think of me like a fish in an aquarium or something, and if we have a conversation, great. I'd appreciate it. God knows I'd appreciate it. I don't know how to yeah, just expense report. I have to account for all the trips I've taken, and I haven't even taken that many. But our expense reporting system is god awful. I mean, just terror bad, and I feel like I could get drunk and sit down and write something that would do a better job in an evening, But no. So I have to use this system. Actually, I kind of joke. There was the thing we're using right now is terrible, but it's not as bad as it was when I first joined VMware, right? 13 years ago. You see, at the time, we were using something called Oracle iExpense, which was just trust me, you haven't suffered until you have used that, and like we like that a couple years later. I don't know if it was a couple years later. Let's say it's like 2 years later. We built a demo for Spring One, like an expense reporting system, just as a demo, just as like a hey, here's how you build a real piece of software with Spring on the server side, and here's an Android app, and it took us like I don't know a few months to get something real and usable, and it was so much more pleasant. Oh my god, it was so much more pleasant than iExpense. So what I'm using today is still terrible. I mean, contemptuously terrible. But it's still better than iExpense. I have to say that for me. Maybe somebody likes iExpense. You know what I discovered yesterday? I tweeted that because I was just sitting there. I have such a hard time with Microsoft Office, like I've never loved it. It's fine. It works fine. I'm not complaining about it per se. It's okay, right? It's just not my favorite. I remember 30 years ago, there was 3 different choices. There's Amy Lotus Suite from IBM. There was WordPerfect Office from Novell, Borland, Novell, and then Corel, right? And then today, and then there was Microsoft Office. And at the time, nobody knew which way it was going to go. It could have been all 3 of them, right? We didn't know. And I just think about that a lot. Every time I use Microsoft Office, I'm like, oh, this is sucky. I mean, it's fine. It works, obviously. The thing about Microsoft Office, there's every feature you could ever want there. So you can't complain that it doesn't do what you want. It definitely will do what you want. It's just not fun. It doesn't feel accessible. It doesn't feel easy. Have you tried the online support for the Word, for Microsoft apps? Those are amazing. I can't believe that works. They did a great job there. So you can do like in the browser, just any browser. It doesn't have to be Internet Explorer or Edge. You can use any browser and you can log in and access like Visio. You can draw diagrams and stuff in the browser. It's phenomenal. They did a great job, but still, it does feel like they took anyway, Microsoft Office. It's fine. Use it if you need to. I'm just saying. I'm stuck here sitting wondering about a world where software is better. You, my friend, you have a great question. I'm a beginner in Spring Boot. What steps do you advise me to take, and what are the courses and YouTube channels? Friend, you're in luck. We just announced something called Spring.Academy. So first of all, let me close this and share this. Okay, so first of all, I always tell people, and you joined at the right time. Spring.io/guides. Here's some guides. These are great resources. These are free. Lots of very focused, easy to understand introductions to different things in the Spring world, right? So I want to build a REST API. I want to schedule something like cron. I want to build a project. I want to do file upload, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so that's part 1. There's this, and these are all like very, very quick. If you look at a guide, they show you every little detail. Here's the URL. Here's the response you can expect. Here's the content. Here's the tool chain that you're going to need. Here's what you need to complete it. Here's the sample code. All this stuff, right? All this stuff is explained in excruciating detail, right? And then it tells you what to do and what how to do it. It doesn't assume anything. Even if you're new to Java, you could probably be fine with this because it shows everything. Shows the files. It says everything, right? And they're great. They're like 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes at most, right? For each one of them. That's part one. The other thing is we have online courses. So Spring Academy. This is courses. These are video, online training, and you can do. There's a paid version, but there's a free section, and the free stuff is very good. You can start and learn a lot right there with just the free stuff, right? So I would definitely I would try this, right? This is all like very, very, very worth your time. Okay. So yeah, try that out. Okay. That'd be good. Good question. Thank you for reminding me. Thomas, what did you publish, man? What did you publish? Let's see. Something you want to tell us about it? You can't put a link in here, I guess, but what's it about? What's it do? Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen because obviously I can't share my expense reports with you, and we'll just start doing them. Oh, yeah, exactly. Great point. Thank you for saying that, right? It's still a work in progress. We just announced Spring Academy earlier this year, but it's awesome. It's coming along very, very well. Very well. Okay. So, all right, TimeLeaf view components. Oh, that's fun. TimeLeaf is amazing. Anybody here, like, oh god, this big stretch. So I used to, a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, 20 years ago, 24 years ago, in the Java community, we were having a discussion around how to do web applications, in Java. And of course, back then, this is before Ajax and DHTML and, window.request and window.fetch. I mean, all that stuff it didn't exist yet. So really, it was very much like you built something, you had state on the server side, and then you rendered HTML and dumped it into the buffer, and it got sent to the client. Basically, just slightly better than CGI bin, right? Which is the thing that we succeeded. This approach, people got creative, and so there was a whole bunch of stuff being done around Model 2 MVC, right? Model 2 MVC is a design pattern that is sort of a variation around classic MVC, which is what you typically see for, typically it's what you see for, desktop applications, desktop user interfaces, that kind of thing. So Model 2 MVC was around building web applications, and it was basically the same thing, but basically it was a way to build applications. And Sun was talking about this right at the time. Sun was talking about how they wanted people to use Model 2 MVC in their J2EE architectures, right? And then Struts came out, Apache Struts, and Struts was a very simple but very, very powerful framework, and then it was just very nice, but it was MVC. So you had a model that was with data, and then you would send it into the controller. The controller would then respond to that. You get a request that would go into the controller. The request had data in it that could be a model, and then the controller would respond to that by creating more data and putting it in the model, and then that would get sent out to the view to be rendered, right? So a very simple loop, and every single request into the engine worked like this, right? So then, and that was great, but the problem was back at the time, I think, first of all, it kind of ignored the possibilities of componentization. So meanwhile, over in .NET land, they had ASP.NET MVC. Well, so I'll get to your question there in a second there, Donald. I just noticed that I'm really flush. I wonder why. Is it just the lighting, I wonder? I hope I'm not about to have a stroke. Okay. So anyway, the .NET land over there, they had a, you know, ASP.NET, ASP.NET, not MVC, just ASP.NET. And there you had this crazy model that kind of worked. It worked well, actually. It was, you would go to you'd have a server side object model, like components, like Visual Basic, like a form, and you could add widgets, and those widgets had event listeners and state and all that, and all of that had to be curated, it had to be maintained somewhere, so they would serialize, base64 or whatever, the entire object graph every single time you loaded this tree. All of the widgets, all the components on the page would get dumped out in this giant base64 encoded blob that was in the page. So you get these multi-megabyte request response cycles with ASP.NET MVC because they were serializing the entire page graph, or they'd store it in the session, in which case it was multi-megabytes for every user in this HTTP session. So it didn't really scale particularly well at first, and maybe they fixed it towards the end of it. But the idea was you had this like component model, and you had like a very clear separation of components versus markup, and then with MVC and the Spring, and struts, and then Spring MVC, you had the same thing. And I just remember at some point the .NET people were having more fun because they had this nice, clean component model, but we were trying to do that, but we had JSP. And then at some point, what I always wanted, like a component-oriented approach to building services and web apps. And so there's a bunch of things that came out, right? Not necessarily in response to ASP.NET, but perhaps at the same time or coincident with it. One was one was Tapestry, one was Wicket, another one was Echo, and then its successor, Echo 2, right? And so these different I think Tapestry came before all of them, but basically it's 2005. I think all three of them had arrived already. And Tapestry in particular had this really strong focus on these very nice templates, these very nice markup-friendly templates. The idea that you could open up your page in Dreamweaver, which is it doesn't know anything about Java. It doesn't know anything about component, server-side frameworks at all. You can open up the page in Dreamweaver, make changes to it, save it, and then round trip, and it would still work as part of your Java app, which was not true with JSP, right? And then, eventually, a few years later, many years later, they would create something called JSF, Java Server Faces, and that had JSP for the first cut, right? And JSP I thought was going to be so much more than it turned out to be, but the original discussions that we were hearing back then was, hey, you could use one component model, one framework to build your desktop user interfaces and your web browser user interfaces, and it's supposed to be very amazing, right? And it had JSP, so it just put me off. Eventually, they created a guy named Jacob Hookham. Is that right? Am I crazy? Jacob Hookham, JSF Facelets. Is that right? I don't remember the name. I could be butchering the name, but yeah. Anyway, this guy he created this thing called Facelets, which brought Tapestry-like user pages markup to JSF, right? And I love that, right? And then eventually, we get Timeleaf from the Spring MVC, so in the Spring MVC community. And by the way, that Faceless effort, I remember them talking about it, saying they were trying to emulate Tapestry, right? And then here's Timeleaf, and I'm not sure, but I would bet, if you had to draw a line in the lineage, I could ask, actually. I know the guy, I should ask. But if you looked at Timeleaf, it has this incredible focus on valid HTML markup. And again, I think it all kind of lands back at Tapestry, right? And so some of the best technologies come from this Tapestry. And by the way, Tapestry itself, if you ask Howard Lewis Shipp, the guy who created Tapestry, he would say Tapestry was in turn informed by WebObjects, which was Apple. Right? It was originally not Apple, but they bought it in the 90s. And so just this whole focus on having renderable, editable, round trippable HTML markup is so cool. Okay, friends, let's see. Your goal would be to get rid of the Kotlin.js compiler. What would be to get the Kotlin.js compiler to compile part of your Vue component into JS and load it into a template. So I would get rid of the JavaScript entirely. Yeah. I don't think so. I wouldn't use any of them. Use Spring Academy. I'm sure they're fine. I don't know. I just what I'm saying is, these days, as a person who has courses you could buy, I'm telling you, right? If you're just getting started right now in 2023, Spring Academy is where I would go, right? Yeah, I would just, it's just easier, and also it's free. That's kind of nice, right? You are a junior developer working on a fintech company. The project I work on doesn't use Spring Boot or any other newer frameworks. I mostly use core Java. Should I change the company? No. I mean, if you're, look, are they treating you well? Are they mentoring you? Are they giving you a chance to grow and to learn? Look, right now it's a terrible economy. I don't know about where you are in the world, but here, here in the United States, if you have a job that is keeping food in your belly and a roof over your head, right now, I would definitely just stay where you are for a little while. Unless you're absolutely miserable. And if you're miserable, if you're having like a really bad time, if the situation is untenable or bad for your health or whatever, then yes, you should leave, of course. But if you're otherwise fine right now, now's a good time to just, save your money, make sure you have some savings and yeah. Yeah, so I would definitely just core Java is, I wouldn't use core Java. I think that's a lot of pain. It's a lot of pain. But you know what? On the other hand, at least you'll know what you shouldn't be doing, right? At least you understand what it looks like when it's done poorly. And yeah, I don't know. Or unless you're building something like, are you building like websites or something? Like if you're building websites with just core Java, then yeah, that's a waste of your time and your skill. On the other hand, again, if you're learning stuff, then and you feel like you're growing as a person, I think I would just, and especially right now, this economy, oh wow, every week I hear about tens of thousands of people being fired from jobs here in Silicon Valley. I'm in Silicon Valley. I live in San Francisco. I'm not technically in Silicon Valley. It's 40 minutes drive away from me, but there's a lot of tech people here in San Francisco, and yeah. Oh, it's a desktop job. Oh yeah, okay. Well then, okay. If you work on the server side, I would be using something like Spring. But if you're building a desktop job app, that's there's not many frameworks inside of JavaFX. You can use Spring inside of JavaFX. I did a video on YouTube from like years ago, looking at that, right? And it works fine. It's nice. JavaFX is a nice framework. It could use it's a nice component model, and it's got a little bit of a framework and just enough for you to be able to add a real one like Spring, and then those two things can work together. Okay, so what I'm going to do, friends, is I'm going to start this process of expense reports, and I just need to do it, right? The sooner I do it, hey, Mark, how you doing, my friend? You join me for like the absolute most boring episode I'm gonna ever do. We're gonna chat while I do expense reports. Yeah, it's oh god, I don't want to do expense reports. Mark, you and I are Mark and I. He's your ex Pivotal. I guess we're all ex Pivotal now, right? Because there's no more Pivotal, but you and I worked together at Pivotal in a galaxy far, far away, and yeah, I mean, if there are two people in all of Pivotal, hell, in all of the world, that have been burned by expense reports more than you and I, I don't know. Hey, that's a great. So is there a plan on session regarding? Yeah, I could do that, but I'm waiting for them to do an upgrade to the initializer. It's not yet been upgraded to. There's a snapshot. I'm kind of waiting for them to do an upgrade to the latest version of Spring Boot 3, right? And so once that's out, maybe I'll start looking at that. We have to get through our course on Spring Boot, and today we have to get through expense reports. So we have just a backlog, and not to mention there's Spring integration and Kotlin and too much stuff, my friends. Too much stuff. Okay. All right. Let's see. God. Did you all see the? Hey, Mark, are you at? Where are you these days, buddy? Are you still at the Googles? Like, what do you think of this new Service Weaver thing? Did you see that? Yeah, I don't know. Like, it looks a little like EJB, local session beans, and I worry. Is everything all right over there? Do I need to do you need help? What's going on with this, man? It's a framework. So basically, it's RPC, LGOO. Yeah, LGOOs. Yeah. What are they in the EJB phase now of Go? I don't understand what this is. Spring Academy is free for a lot of stuff, my friend. Yes, it is. So I don't think you have to pay. You can pay for the professional stuff, but you can get a lot of stuff done for free. That's the idea. We want to give it away. And then also spring.io/guide is invaluable, and that's been there it's completely free. That's been there for years. So yeah, check that all out. This Service Weaver stuff looks kind of interesting. I will be excited to see where this thing lands, my friend. It does remind me. Look, modular monoliths are fine if you're writing in so we have moduliths, right? We have the project Spring Moduliths, and the way that works is you think in terms of decoupled events, not literal RPC, right? This is like, oh dear. Well, if anybody can make it work, it's Google. So we'll see what happens, I guess. But okay, expense reports. Seriously, I got it. I'm going to do expense reports. I hate expense reports so much, everybody. Let's see here. Mark can tell us stories. He's been there. He knows what the expense report regiment for a large company is. Is it better over there at Google? Let's see. Maybe they have some whiz bang technology that just reads your mind and automatically caches remits the payment for the thing. Hey, Kunal, you're not late, buddy. Trust me, I don't even know why you're all here. I am so glad you're here. But like I said, it's expense reports. It's going to be just terrible. I hate it. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Me too. I was on an airplane, maybe a dozen. I cracked 1K last year. That's it, right? 1K. My global services finally ran out in January of this year. But anyway, this year I've done 3 flights. 2023 I've done 3 flights, and so that's me. This is me finally logging in because I'm getting those nasty grams after so many days of inactivity or whatever. Okay, let's see here, friends. Yeah, I've got 1K, but and they were really nice. They let me keep my global services from 2019 up until this year, even though I haven't traveled, basically at all in the last 3 years because there's been a global pandemic raging. New to my channel, am I a Spring developer? I'm kind of like a Spring clown. Yeah, I work on the Spring team. I am not particularly useful, but they keep me around anyway. I think just out of pity. And you are in the right place. We're going to talk about Spring, but you joined at the worst time. You were, my friend. This is the worst time. I'm going to be doing expense reports today, which is no fun. I just want to talk to people while I do these boring expense reports. But if you come back like tomorrow, I'll be doing spring, and I've got a bunch of videos on spring already. If you look at the live stream on my YouTube channel, there's lots of videos there on spring and so on. So yes, I'm a spring committer and engineer for the last several decades. I've done work there, and if you look at the code for Spring Boot, you'll find my name. And I'm not the founder or anything, but I'm a major contributor of bugs. But I'm also just a guy doing expense reports, and today's that day. Okay, so the first trick is today we're going to just take all the expense reports that are under the threshold for like receipts and all that and just submit them. And that might save me, that'll probably get me like $20 maybe. Like I don't have any of those. Everything like New York, there's nothing that's under $20 in New York, right? Everything is, I mean, Mark can tell you, right? Oh, well, that's a high hopes, I guess. I hope maybe they'll have fun. I don't know. I'm certainly not having fun. I mean, I'm having fun talking to you all, but what I'm doing right now is I hate it. Okay, so let's see here. Expense reports. What do I have that's less than the threshold for itemization and all that? I don't have many. Let me just move these over to a new expense report. Nice. No worries, not doing so. Hang on. Hey, thank you, Ernesto. I appreciate it. Where are you coming from today? Like which part of the world? We have people in the chat from all around the planet, and that's one of the nice things about the internet is that we can all kind of be on the same page, even though we're not in the same place. Let's see. Move to a new report. Okay. Business travel. Early 2023. This is expenses reflect. Yeah, exactly. Receipt. Oh, let's start a lot. Yeah, exactly. We'll call it like Google expense or something. I don't know. Congratulations! I'm so jealous. Doesn't it feel better to get it off your chest? Off your back. Yeah. Okay. So I think we all agree. I think this is our expense report crew here. We're gonna change the world. Actually, I made a friend. You know this? I made a friend here in San Francisco who is working on something. His company has a technology that is just so much better than what we're using, right? And I was like, okay, I want to be your friend just because we agree that thing is terrible, right? And a lot of times when you make friends, it's because you're united by something, and to be united against a terrible expense reporting regime is nice, ridiculous, but nice. You finished your expense reports. I'm proud of you. Title should be from 0 to hero with Excel. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not even. Well, first of all, it's definitely not 0. It's like thousands and thousands of dollars. But I would like to go actually from hero to 0. I'd like to go to from heroes who got on planes and had fun to a $0 balance. Texas. Oh yeah, I was just in Texas, dude. I was just in Texas yesterday. I mean, literally last night. I got back from Dallas. Missed you by that much. Yes. Spent GPT. Exactly. That's what we're gonna do it. There will be no screen sharing. Yeah, exactly. I can't share anything because it's all company proprietary stuff. The expense report problem is due to who is the customer in the product relation. Exactly. It's not me, right? I'm just the employee. The company that administers the solution, they deploy it. Yeah, exactly. 100%. Yeah. Business travel for the first quarter of 2023, year of our Lord. Okay, let's see. Now, the other thing is, I got Mark. I would just wish you were here still, man. I got in trouble because somebody thought I was being flippant in the comments for my expenses, and I was like, "What do you want me to put? I mean, this is not like high value uses of my time. It was just the most generic thing I could put to get the form to validate. Yeah. Okay, so okay, I've done that. Let me see what else I've got here. Did it work? Looks like it didn't work yet. Oh, it's working. I don't. We were just talking about Ajax a second ago, and I think having that for something like this would be nice. Like the fact that I have to do a form post back, and then there's actually a spinning thing. Oh, please make it stop. Starbucks 2020. Okay. Employee meal. Oh, brother, where art thou here? Okay, so here's the other thing: is I have a Mac. I can't even imagine what this is like for the other people on the world. Like I don't even. So I have this. I'm in the Mac cult, right? The Apple cult, and because of that, I can take a photo on my phone and just like throw it onto my laptop. There's an API for submitting expenses, but then I would have to write code, and that sounds like even more work. I mean, I guess I could. What would it do? I mean, just like look at my photos, and would I have to start annotating? Like, if I have to like write down the data, then I'm already not interested in it, right? Like, I want something else to do it for me, or infer it. I can scrape an API. I'm just not sure what I would be scraping. Are you talking about like I could scrape Uber? I guess. I've been writing screen scrapers for decades. If expense type equals Uber and cost equals X, yeah, totally. We should totally do that. Yeah. So anyway, I can use these because I'm in the Apple cult. One of the few benefits there is you can take a thing from one device, like my phone, which has the photos of the receipts, and I can just like throw it onto my laptop, and I don't have to like stage it somewhere or put it in Dropbox or whatever. I can just move it from one place to another really quickly, and which is good too. You know, the other thing that was kind of interesting is when I went to New York in January. A lot of fun for that was for Spring One Essentials, and then I caught COVID, which was not fun. So I didn't do my expense reports for January or for like late January. Tim Apple. I didn't do my expense reports for late January because I was busy hacking up a lung or something, you know. Sure. Oh, that's annoying. Cheers, mate. Old Polish pivot. Aw, hey, nice to see you again, bud. Let's see. How much is this one? There's a receipt. Yeah, I hope to be at Devoxx. Anything, any Devoxx. I would love to be in Devoxx Poland. I'd love to be in. I mean, if they had Devoxx US again, I'd be happy to go there at this point. Just any place at all would be nice. Let's see here. Okay. The downside to being in the Apple cult is that the photos from my phone are in HEIC, which is not what my expense reporting system is needing. Let's see here. Oh, there's a photo for something that looked like it might be useful. Okay. Yeah, ChatGPT and Spring Shell. Hell, yes, I'm all about that. Let's build this, but not right now. Gotta just submit these. I was halfway wondering if I could get my kid to do it. Like maybe I could pay her to like rifle for my photos and just here's a bunch of receipts, and line them up with the expenses that I've downloaded, and then I could write the program to like do that work manually. I could say, okay, price and the expense report over there. That would be easy enough too. But basically, you need like work. You need work manually for that solution to work, and nobody likes to work manually. Like, this is one of the things that did you ever use Amazon Turk? Amazon Turk is, yeah, it's a travesty. It's a Matt Stein, the legendary, the one, the only. Good to see you, my friend. I miss you. We're just doing expense reports. It's a nightmare. I'm gonna do expense reports until I'm done, or until YouTube just deems that this is just such an inappropriate use of bytes and pixels. That wait, what? What? Nobody's talking about twerking. How? Are you in the wrong stream, buddy? Oh, what? What did I say? Amazon Turk. Amazon Turk. Didn't I call about? Didn't I? What did I say? Working Amazon Mechanical Turk. Sorry, I must have been talking about working and looking at a picture of expense reports and thinking of Amazon Mechanical Turk at the same time. Let's see. That looks like an expense reportable receipt. Like the expense reporting regime is so fantastically terrible that it's gotten to the point where when I know it's going to be like, if there's a way, when I see an expense and I'm like, okay, I don't even want to bother with it, I'll just pay for it myself. I've gotten to the point where I'm now funding some of the business travel just so I can avoid the inevitable nightmare that the expense reporting solution will impose, Let's see. No, no, not yet. Somebody's having a very bad day, and there's a ambulance. Oh yeah, that's what we all did. Like, just which part? The pay for it yourselves part to avoid the pain. Yeah, I mean, I know, but like, we did that for because like the three of us, Mark, you, myself, we all traveled enough that if we just did like 1% of our travel, it was still a crap ton of money, but it was also worth it because saving 1% of the time required to get those expense reports through would have also been huge wins in time sinks. I'm having to do that now when I've done, I think, 3 or 4 business trips this year. That's it. Remind you, we're like 2 months into the year, right? We're 60 days and some change into the new year, and I've only done 3 trips. That would have been 60 trips, back when we were all working together, so the fact that I'm still so put off by because believe it or not, it's gotten worse. The expense reporting process is just worse now. So I don't even bother. I just, if there's any question as to whether it's going to be painful, I don't even bother. I just do it myself. Let's see here. The only good news is, the body cavities. The deep packet inspection, Matt. Deep packet inspection. Yeah, the rigmarole of that. I mean, look, I know everybody has to do expense reports, and I kind of get why. But like, did you know Netflix doesn't even? Last I heard, I don't know if it's changed. I heard Netflix doesn't even have an expense reporting system, right? Which makes me think it is possible. Yeah, exactly. Like, you and I are all, like, you, me, and Mark are all in a kind of like a good enough position where we can get on the plane, or we could not. Whatever. I like getting on the plane. Just don't get me wrong, but this does sort of like, it just, I don't know. They don't have not great. It's not, this part makes it leaves a sour taste in my mouth. They don't really have any content either. What content? I lost the antecedent. Let's see here. Oop. Oh, hey. Oh, Netflix. Oh, so I heard that. Well, no, I mean I heard that they have corporate credit cards and all that. And again, I could be wrong. Maybe I misunderstood this discussion I was having. There was an adult beverage or two involved, I'm sure. But my understanding is that they don't have an expense reporting regime like a lot of companies do. That is to say, it's possible to have credit cards and let your people expense things and not have the expense reporting nightmare on the other end of it. I don't know if I'm misunderstanding it. Yeah, I don't know if that's I don't know. Maybe I misunderstood, but it blew me away because it's like, well, wait, all this like expense report theater that we all do is just that. It's not even legally, technically a requirement. It's just sort of what we do because we think that's what we do. It's sort of like you know how Sarbanes-Oxley, super important. We need to have accountability and all that, but like there's a lot of misconceptions. Yeah, freedom and accountability, right? There's that dimension to it. And like, look, I'm not saying we should all copy Cargo Cult, copy whatever Netflix is doing. I mean, goodness knows there's been enough of that in the last few decades, but I wouldn't mind learning something new about expense reports. I feel like we could as an industry just go, yeah, this doesn't need to be this bad. Hey, there's one that I took a photo of, but I wonder if I expensed. Let's see. Okay, I've got a bunch here. Let's just see what we get here. Let's see. I just found a bunch of photos that look like they might match up to an expense report or an expense somewhere in this you know. Okay. Downloads. Sort by name. I don't know who reads the expense reports. I mean, I used to know, right? Like, I knew where they were actually, and actually they were in a different country, and I used to go to that country every now and then. And at one point, I actually like because they were tedious back then too, 2010 when I first joined VMware, and then that was before we all spun out and did the pivotal thing. Yeah, I went to the office where those people were, and they turned out to be quite nice. They're like, I know this is not obvious, but they're just doing a job. They don't actually enjoy torturing us. Hi, Baden. Good to see you. How are you? Thanks for joining us. For those of you joining us, this isn't the pre-show. There's no like, it's not going to get better. Today's episode is going to be terrible. Today it's just me hanging out with you, doing expense reports. If you want to watch somebody suffer, kind of like a sick fish in a glass bowl, then this is the episode. This is the stream for you. So, I know. Well, you know, there's a million. You have your expense reports approved by an AI. What? I want just I. I'll take I at this point. Right now, it just feels like it's rote application of like, you know, it's not even the spirit of the thing. It's just if there is no direct piece of text that corresponds to the violation, then you're in violation, right? Or to the exception of the violation, then you're in violation. It's just so painful. Okay, I'll find. I am HIC. While reading do move L do that. I'm literally running a while loop for those of you who wanted some code. I want to click what? Wait. Thank you, my friend. That's very kind. I hope that's a good thing. Like, I hope that you have finished your thought and there's a period there, and you're not going to say something like, "Hi, Josh Long. You're my inspiration for all my new technology upgrades, and because of you, we've been down for 7 weeks," or something like that. But I'm thank you for sharing that. That's really cool. And then You click a button and they disappear. That's what I want, Matt. That's the dream, baby. That's what I want, buddy. I want that. I will tell you something. I will tell you. It could be worse, right? That's what I want you to understand. It can actually. It can be worse. Okay, so did I just, guys? I'm so dumb. Oh, I'm so dumb. Okay, so I was trying to write. I'm trying to. Oh God. Okay, so I'm gonna move this to that. I'm actually writing a bash while loop. APG, please. Okay, and then find iname APG old while read line do move L to L dot JPG. Done. No, I'm going to do convert. Okay, I'm going to convert these to JPG. Hi, Ahmed. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, look, I don't mind that my spending has been significantly curtailed just out of, because you and I got away with murder at in the old days, right? But it's not that. It's just that the because I'll put my own money, my own card down for a good many expenses that I might have been able to get away with before. It's not that. It's just the pain of submitting them at the end of the day. That's what frustrates me so. Okay, let's see what we got here, friends. I've successfully converted. If you want some tech, here's some tech. I'm gonna I'm gonna share and I'm not sharing my screen because I'm doing expense reports, which is the process whereby companies account for spending, right? So you have to. I put expenses on my corporate credit card, and then my company wants me to know why I did that. So I have to prove to them that I did it in the way that they already know, right? They already know that I did this thing, right? But they want me to say it again. So they got an expense saying, hey, this is from Starbucks. Now they want the receipt from Starbucks because they think I would lie about $1.20 spent at Starbucks. I don't get that whole thing. It's not my company, by the way. It's not like they don't trust me. It's this weird way that we seem to do expense reports in the world today, where you just can't trust anything. And I get fundamentally why that is. But what I kind of want is like a TSA pre-check for expense reports, right? So in this country, they make you do this whole song and dance when you go through a security checkpoint here in. Oh, hi, Alina. Good to see you, my friend. How are you? Thanks for joining. You picked the most boring episode to join me on today. I'm just doing expense reports and hanging out and talking with people. Alina, for those of you who don't know, is a legend. You should follow her on the Twitters and wherever else she would have you. She's a Graalvm advocate over the big old Oracle Ranch. Awesome. So anyway, like this in the States here we have this TSA pre-check, which is yeah, exactly. It's not just VMware; it's just everybody, right? And so we have this TSA pre-check here, which is basically, hey, we've done a background check on you. We know that you're less likely to cause trouble. Therefore, you can have some concessions, some accommodations when you go through a airport checkpoint or a border checkpoint or whatever, right? And it's nice because they give you. It's still not fun. It's still work, but at least it's less of it. Like the more practical concessions they make for you, And what I kind of want is like an expense report system where, like if you haven't, if you don't have any blemishes on your record, and I don't, right? Like I've been late, but it's not like it's not like I didn't spend the money in the right way. It's not like I went out and took the money and bought like whatever, something, and then tried to say it was something else, right? I've never done that. So like it would be nice to have like a TSA pre-check for expense reports. Where if you've got a certain number of years, and God knows I do, if you have a number of years, then you can they'll spare you, or maybe the threshold is higher. Maybe you don't need to account for everything below like X times 5 or something. I don't know. Oh yeah, the auto scanning, because that causes more trouble than it needs to, right? Like it's yeah. Sometimes the computers get in the way. I don't know. Most of the time they help, but sometimes they're too smart for their own good, and they cause me more pain than not. Okay, friends, let's see. So the first expense report, the first expense that I actually have to account for, I have to find a receipt for $22 and some change from January 27th. Let me just go through this big bucket of expense reports. Nope, that's not it. Okay. 2602. Do. I don't understand what's happening here. I got a credit? What is going on? Exactly. And that's why it grates me so much to be wasting this time when I could just be wasting money. I would prefer that. It looks sunny, my friend, because it is, but it's not warm. That's the problem with California. Well, no, with San Francisco. I'm from Los Angeles, and in Los Angeles, let me see. I have to translate from American to everybody else. Okay, so in LA, it's t-shirt weather all the time. You can just wear a t-shirt outside all the time, right? Summer, winter, spring, autumn, whatever. And the weather's perfect. We don't have much else going for us. I'm not saying you should move there or anything. I'm just saying the weather is great. Okay, the weather is perfect. It's 70. It's a very small window. So people in LA are very uncomfortable when it goes below 72 Fahrenheit, which is like 22.2 Celsius, and above 73 Fahrenheit, which is like 22.7 Celsius. So there's a very thin range, 22.2 to 22.7 Celsius, where that's the weather all year in LA. And then anything above or below that, people start dying. They get cold or they start combusting because it's too hot, basically. Maybe they don't. I mean, it really is insane how good the weather is. And we're not built for anything else. People in LA don't know how to drive in the rain. They don't know how to like handle heat like that because a lot of places don't have air conditioning. It's gotten better now, but still a lot of places don't. And so when it gets too cold or too hot, people don't expect the cold, so they end up waking up sick a lot. And they don't know what to do when there's ice on their windows and all that kind of stuff. So it's just not normal. The weather we've been having the last few weeks is like biblical. I mean, people are freaking out, right? There was snow in Hollywood, snowballs on the Hollywood sign. Apparently, I live in San Francisco. I've been here since 2012, right? Here it's kind of the same thing. It's not as warm. It's a little bit colder, and it's all year. You have to wear a hoodie, even in the summer. You have to wear a small sweater, but you never have to wear a big, heavy jacket or anything. Just a sweater. That's fine. Okay, yeah, it's okay weather. It's really nice weather actually. But the point is, I couldn't go out there right now. If I went out there right now, I would need a jacket. Let me see. Weather.
It's currently clear and 52 degrees.
Oh yeah, what's that in the rest of the world? 52 Fahrenheit and Celsius.
The answer is 11.1 degrees Celsius.
I don't need a heavy jacket, right? That's not freezing. I could just go out there and have a little sweater and I'd be fine. But you know, it's sunny, but not sunny enough to like go swimming or something. And plus, I have expense reports. Why would I want to go outside and sit in the park? Got these fun things to worry about. Boy, give me a happy expense report line item. Boolean justice. Yes, exactly. I would love that. Okay, I still haven't found this one. Like a. At that time, I was happy. So, whoa! I hope it didn't try and expense that. Let's see. Okay. Almost at the point where I can do one expense. Just one. Not a report, just one expense, one individual expense. I still haven't found the receipt for this particular one. So I'm going to move on. All that work I just did for the last half hour has turned out to be completely pointless. So what is this? I've got another expense here. And it doesn't seem like a lot of money, but if you don't have a receipt for it, it's money you have to pay. And that adds up very quickly. So it becomes very interesting to find. Oh, yes, I found it. Okay. Okay. I did one. Good news, everybody. I did one. I did just one, but it was long overdue. That felt right. That felt good. Oh, this one. Son of a gun. Oh man. Yeah, exactly. Small parties, small victories. I've only got like 400 more line items to worry about today. Let's see here. Every one of which could cost me money if I don't, if I didn't do the right thing and take a good photo or something like that at the time the expense was incurred. 24 January 24. Okay. How much was that one? The only good, like, it's fun hanging out with you all, of course, but it's also fun because I'm kind of just going through all the stuff that we did. Like, I was in New York. I didn't get to see Mark, unfortunately, but I was in New York end of January, and except for getting COVID, we had a great time. And I'm looking at all the photos. There's Tammy, I brought my partner Tammy with me so that we could, between the meetings, we could go have some fun, and we went to see Stephen Colbert live, which is, awesome. Let's see. We got there and we had to change hotels. We checked into a hotel, and it was one of those like old hotels, and they were trying to convince you that it's interesting because it's old. And I was like, well, I fell for it. I've never stayed in a hotel apparently, and so I booked into this hotel, and it was a dungeon. It was like there's basically no window, and if there was, it was like a little porthole that faced off across the street into another person's apartment. And there's sirens. You couldn't get high enough off the ground. I mean, you can't really do that anywhere in New York anyway. But it was just not fun. And yeah, exactly. Colbert's amazing. I have so much respect for him as a comedian, as a person, as a late show host. I think he's you need somebody who can be both on their feet, sharp, charismatic, indulgent, and also a great listener, and know when to shut up, and also have something to offer when there's a lull in the action. And he does all of that, right? In addition to being hilarious, So I love Colbert, and it was the only thing I didn't love about it is, and although I wonder if it worked. I don't know. They have a human being that comes out before the show, and like is the hype person. Their job, and this is common for lots of things, like concerts as well. You have somebody that's gonna come out and like get the audience frothy, right? You're in India and it's 12 a.m., but we're still. Look, I appreciate that so much, but this, my friends, this is not the video you should be watching. This is a terrible video. This is just me doing expense reports. You should get some sleep. I'll probably still be here at midnight my time, right? It's a 10:30 in the morning right now. So come back in 14 hours, and I might still be here. Who knows? But I don't want you to lose opportunities for sleep. Goodness knows I might fall asleep in the middle of this process, right? I might. It might be my brain might just like collapse in on of itself as I try to wade through this terrible mechanism. Let's see. Did I not take a receipt photo? Please tell me I did. Nope. Turns out you need to be able to spell it in order to search for it. It worked. Yep, I want to do spring security as well. I mean, there's just so much we're going to do, And I appreciate the feedback, by the way. Like, we'll definitely, it's all going into my head, and then most of that is in turn going onto a list, and that's already on the list. That stuff. Oh, okay, come on. I don't know how this got so bad. The worst part is if I can't find the photo in the inscrutable Photos app on the iPhone. Although, actually, I will tell you, they did something. My kid taught me this because kids are way smarter than the rest of us. So my kid, she taught me that you can go into the Photos app, and like, let me see I'm not trying to do it. I go to search, and then you can type in, like I'm looking for a number 251. I just type in 251, and it'll show me all the photos that have that number in it. Ah, there it is. That worked. So I just found the receipt by searching for the photo, by searching text in the Photos app on the iPhone. I'm sure Android has something even better, But what just happened? Hello. Yeah, looks like I'm still there. I'm having trouble connecting. That was weird. Oh, in like 17 minutes, Marco Baylor will be on the Spring Developer channel, youtube.com, Spring Source Dev. And the talk is called Why You Don't Need to Worry About Scaling Your Spring Web App, right? That's going to be way better than what you're watching with me right now, right? So much better. I would definitely go watch that in like 17 minutes. So let's say at 11 o'clock my time, at the top of the hour, okay? It's 10:43, so in 17 minutes it'll be 11 o'clock, right? Go watch that. That'll be, then you'll say, hey, that Josh guy wasted my time, but at least he told me about that thing, and that sounds cool. So I went to watch that, and that wasn't terrible. That's going to be fun. What you're going to watch is going to be fun. What you're watching right now, it's more for me than you, really. And I appreciate it. Misery loves company. You want to see a Kafka video? Yeah, that's a good idea, too. I mean, Kafka, I'm definitely going to do about, so one of the videos we're going to do is Spring integration, like messaging, integration, Kafka. I've been waiting for that. But so many people had questions about core Spring when we did the Spring Batch recap that I decided we better do something on Spring Boot. And I'm just using that as like a level setter, like, you must be this tall to ride the ride kind of thing, right? Just watch these videos, work with me through some of these questions. And even if you don't watch the whole series, just watch the first couple of videos, I think, where we looked at basic core dependency injection and all that. I'm hoping people will have watched those, and I'm going to digest all this. I'll take everything I did in Spring Batch, digest it into an actual quick video showing Spring Batch. You don't have to watch all 10 hours. And I'll do the same thing for Spring Boot. I'll do a digested version of Spring Boot. But basically, with that stuff behind us, then we can go look at messaging and integration. And absolutely, Kafka is going to be a huge part of that. It has to be, right? So, yeah, okay. So, hello, Josh. For the last days, I was struggling with Spring 3.03 and Spring Security with JWT. Everything I do ends in 4.1 authorized in Postman when I try to reach a permitted endpoint. I would create as small a reproducer as possible. Take the code, the minimal code, like take the Spring Security config, the dependencies, and one sample HTTP request. Move that out to a separate project and see if it still fails. If it still fails, then put that on GitHub, that minimal one, not your code, the minimal one, and then send us a Stack Overflow. Send me a Stack Overflow, put it on Stack Overflow with the tags for Spring Security. And somebody will see it from the Spring team. And if they don't, just send it to me on Twitter or here or whatever, or Josh at joshlong.com. And I'll ask people on the Spring Security team, right? That's the easiest way to guarantee you get an answer at some point. Because it's hard to say. I don't know. I'd have to look at your code otherwise, and I can't do that today. I'm trying to debug my own stuff right now. We have to debug these cursed expensive parts. Okay, here we go. Your question is how to deploy your Spring Boot app into AWS Cloud. Well, okay, yeah. I mean, that's a good question. Like if you're using AWS, why? And what are you trying? Like specifically, are you deploying to a Kubernetes distribution on AWS? Because that's just Kubernetes. If you're trying to do what is that? AWS. If you're doing Lambda, right? If you're doing Lambda, that's a different thing. Go look at Spring Cloud Function for some AWS Lambda examples. AWS, what is it? Fargate, is that the one with the containers? Yeah, it's a way to run workloads and scale to zero. Is that kind of like Google Cloud Run, I think? I'm not sure if that's exactly the same analog. But basically with that, you should be able to just package up a container. So if you do Docker, if you build a Docker image out of your Spring Boot app, which you can do with build packs and Maven Spring -boot build -image or Gradle W build boot image, I think, or something like that, right? I forget the task, but once you do that, you have a Docker container. You can Docker tag and Docker push that to your container registry. And AWS has a lot of different ways, like many conflicting, inconsistent ways to deploy that container to to their cloud. They want you to get that stuff there more than you want to get it there, right? They would love for you to get it there. So it depends on what kind of deployment you're doing. Let's see. Okay, expense report. I don't get it. What is this number here? 251. Okay. Hey, I think it worked. I think. Ah. Yeah. Hey, speaking of, guess who I just got a bill from like right now, like a minute ago? AWS. That's right. Let's see. And I'm using them because of for S3, which is amazing. What is the difference between Spring, JDBC, and JPA? Well, friend, JPA is an abstraction that was built by it was built as part of Java EE, or used to be called J2EE. Now it's called Jakarta EE. And it's a way to map objects to SQL, right, to database tables. And it's very much inspired by Hibernate. So if you've used Hibernate, it's an object relational mapper, then you can use JPA. But JPA is a very low-level API, right? It's not very productive out of the box. You have to write code to handle creating resources and connections and sessions and transaction demarcation and all that stuff. So there's a Spring Data module that integrates JPA called Spring Data JPA. But JPA it's slow. It doesn't change fast enough for most people. It's very complicated if you're just trying to do simple things. Like, for example, I want to use a Java record. Java records have been in the Java language for more than 2 years. I mean, let me see. When did Java introduce records? Java 14. So we're at Java 20 already. So it's been more than 3 years, and you still can't use records with JPA, right? They just haven't added support for it. And there's a whole other discussion we could have around the politics behind that. And I know that the JPA specs will start maturing a little bit more quickly now that they're finally part of the Eclipse open source foundation. But basically, if you don't need something very, very powerful and complicated, and if you don't mind a little bit of SQL, and I certainly don't, and if you want features, then you might look at something like Spring Data JDBC, right? Yeah, so there you go. I would use JDBC for that, or R2DBC if you're doing non-blocking reactive, or MongoDB, or Neo4j, or Couchbase, or Redis, or right? There's lots of other alternatives, but they're all supported by Spring Data. Okay. I think we're so close here, friends. We're so close. I'm gonna convert this file into the number 2. Okay. No, JDBC is not definitely better. I'm saying JDBC is good for smaller things, and it's also good for if you want to take advantage of more modern features. But JPA might be better if you have thousands of tables, and some people do, then maybe it's more natural to wrangle that knot, to rest, untie that knot using objects than it would be to manage all those queries. Because once you have all those joins and all that, the connections get very hard to think about. Am I excited about Java Developer Day on 21st March? Sure. I don't even know what that is. Is that the Oracle thing? Yeah. I mean, I haven't even seen the lineup. Am I in it? I don't even know. I like Java developers. Let me see. Java Developer Day. Join us for the Java 20 launch on March 21st. Oh, so they're okay. Cool. They're launching Java 20. Neat. That's exciting. Yeah. It's not. It's down the street apparently. I wonder if I could go. It's online. So if you want to learn about it, I guess you can register. Um, oh, they just announced it a few days ago. I was busy. Okay, this is Sharat. He just announced it on the 27th. So, wow. Yeah, that's cool. I want to see the talk on Project Panama. That'd be cool. Hmm. Yeah, okay. Anyway, we're almost there. We just got like 500 more of these expense reports to do. So let's close that out. I'll convert this to an image. Convert 251. Image magic, still paying dividends decades later. I use it all the time. Let's see. Here we go. When did I check in? I checked in on the 23rd, I guess. Yeah, I mean, so Thomas, I don't know about that. I think you're right. If you're not careful, you can easily end up creating an over-architected sort of thing. On the other hand, I know lots of organizations that have already over-architected tables with hundreds of or database schemas with hundreds of tables, and remember, every time you have to think about that, those connections, the more objects you get and the more connections they have between each other, it grows, quadratically, right? It becomes very, very expensive to keep all those relationships in your head, and so having and imagine having to write the code for every one of those too, right? Every time you add a new connection, all these other things need to change. Having the ability to think about that in terms of objects, I think, is very simplifying, right? The vertices, as those scale, then JPA becomes very useful. Or I should say ORMs become very useful. Spring Data JDBC is an ORM, but it's not great at all these complex relationships, right? Spring Data JDBC does basic object mapping, but if you want a full on like ORM, there's Hibernate is still the most powerful right there. Oh, buddy, what's the best cloud for Java? See, I don't know. Yeah, me too, because I don't know why you would today, especially with microservices, right? But as for this question, I don't think there's any best cloud for Java developers, because what I want people to do is to get above any particular cloud, use Kubernetes at the very least. I mean, I think we all agree that's probably the standard today. And then if we can use something on top of that, all the better, right? So obviously, at Tanzu, where the Spring team lives, here at VMware, we have this thing called TAP, which is an abstraction on top of that. But the point is, if you're using Kubernetes, then you can just use Kubernetes. And if you're using Kubernetes on AWS or on Google Cloud or on Microsoft Azure or whatever, who cares? Let's say that AWS makes the bill 5 times more expensive tomorrow. Fine, it's Kubernetes. I'll just take my whole workload, move it to Google Cloud or to whatever, run it in my own data center if you want to do that for a particular reason. And then I'm not saying it's going to be 100% portable. It's definitely not, right? There's always going to be some weirdness around the edges. But again, that's Kubernetes standardized so much of the core that the fringe stuff, like the stuff at the very edge of your application where you have to integrate with the cloud, things like the gateway and the SSL certificates and all that, it'll take a couple days or day if you know what you're doing. It's not hard to get the stuff working. It's not like they don't have something like that on their side as well. And again, that's becoming more standardized too. But you just have to. It's not that big a deal, right? That you can move whole production workloads by just pointing your GitOps pipeline to a new cloud vendor. Console's awesome. I love Console. Yeah. Well, for Kate's always, yeah. Console's amazing. I mean, Console is a great service registry. I love the configuration support as well, like the centralized configuration. I hear you can use it as a DNS server, which is really cool. I love Vault as well. I mean, they're HashiCorp is crushing it. I love what they're doing these days. Okay, hold on. Oh, hey. So, okay, reminder, if you are a Spring developer and you care about being better at Spring, then while I appreciate you being here right now, you should probably go to the Spring Source Dev channel, youtube.com, Spring Source Dev, and there's going to be a video, right now on scaling your app with Spring. So that's going to be, you'll get more out of that than this for sure. But I really appreciate you being here in the meantime. Let's see. What's Convox? No. Oh, for Kubernetes, do you need to know Docker as well? I would try and avoid it. Look, you don't need, you need to know the basics, but then you don't need to use it, right? Like you can use build packs to build your Docker image, right? And that works just fine. Yeah, you need to know the basics. You should build a Docker image and understand what's happening there, and spend a day or two. Like if you've never ever even heard of Docker, then yeah, you need to know it. You need to know the basics, but you don't need to use it, is my point. There are better ways to build containers. So do it the hard way a few times, and then use something like build packs, and then move on, right? You don't need it. You don't need to worry about it every day. Friends don't let friends write Docker files. Let's see. What's Convox? I don't know what that is. Mark, Matt, maybe you know. Or my buddy Lee, he said he might join us. I don't know if he's here right now. Who? Okay, it's happening. Marco Beller, go watch his thing. Trust me, much better than this. Let's see here. Hey, Mark, good to see you again, buddy. Thanks for using Stay Home. Yeah. Do you know what Convox is, Mark? I don't know. I've never. I'm you know me. Not too smart. Have a nice day, Thomas. Check in 2022. Okay. Okay, save expense. Yeah, I don't blame you. They're not my jam either. Yeah. I appreciate you suffering through this with me, but like I said, misery loves company. You don't have to be miserable if you don't want to, though. Go watch Marco. That'll be good, right? You'll get something out of this. Let's see. Yes, exactly. Go see Marco. Like I said, he's going to be much better use of your time, my friends. Save expense. I can paste it, right? I can do that. YouTube. I keep forgetting this is my channel and I have the ability to paste the URLs here. I know you can't, and I keep thinking, well, if they can't, why can't I? Whoa, what is going on? That wasn't me. It was me, but why? What happened there? The wrong YouTube channel. Okay. Okay, I just pasted the link for Marco's thing if you want to go watch something awesome. Because I feel bad. You know, you've all been so kind hanging out with me today. Okay, just did one expense. Is that all I've done so far? Why? Hi, Daniel. Fight was it's fine. I got home. It's quick. It's a quick trip to Dallas. 3 hours, less than 3 hours. So I closed the tab. Sorry about that. Okay, let's see here. Why is open session and view enabled in Spring Boot by default? I think it's just because that was what we did and sort of what it is. But you can disable it. Please do. Like I don't recommend using JPA, and I don't recommend that pattern. So, but if you're gonna do it, having open session and view at least makes it more convenient. Hey, yeah, expense reports. Oh, buddy, I see. Good to see you, my friend. Expense reports are the worst. This is like, it's the worst. So Starbucks. Hmm. Okay, why would this be a personal expense? I think not. No. We're doing expense reports. The weirdest part is that for some reason my system that I'm using has automatically flagged a bunch of them as personal, and they're not personal. So not only do I have to go back and like find receipts for them or whatever, I have to like tell the system, no, you're wrong. You pay, not me. So annoying. Okay, I found that receipt. Oh, misery. And I just did my taxes. I didn't do my. I mean, I have an accountant, right? But like, it's all that. It's all that paperwork and forms and signing into things and downloading receipts and this, that, and the rest. And now I'm doing this, and I want to get. I feel like February is the year of the paperwork, or is the month of the paperwork, you know. And I don't love it. I don't love it at all. Do I have an eye twitch? I think I might have an eye twitch. That's how much I hate this process. Let's see, 1969. We should. I mean, people, smarter people than I have tried and failed there, my friend. In terms, like, why don't we just try to automate it? Yeah, I totally. I think I think it's the software that I'm using, my company is using, plus the particularly draconian nature of like expense reporting here in the States. Like, I think those two things together. Wow. But I know there's better ways to do this. I think we talked. I think I talked about Netflix earlier, and also there's also other companies. Everybody keeps saying Expensify is like a miracle, you know, amazing. Everybody I've ever talked to, like, no, I just hit approve and hit a button and it's done. And I would love that. I would love it so much. Why would Uber not show me the price? I have to click on the details to see the price. I wonder if it's on my email. That would be just a little bit easier than this. This is dumb. Okay. No. No. about my corporate email. Oh, yes. What do you know? Okay, so it's there. Oh. Okay, friends, I'll be back in like a minute. I have to go use the little live streamer's room ever so quickly. And we're back. Okay. I used the bathroom. I raised the table, made sure the dog was okay. You know, small stuff, quick stuff. Turn on the heater because it's getting cold in here. See, like I said, it's not warm enough to just leave the door open. You have to keep the heater running. My daughter sometimes leaves her bedroom door open, and then the dog sneaks in there, and he can't be trusted with like if there's a trash bin, he'll like rifle through it and stuff. So I was like, oh no, where's the dog? I saw her door open. It's like, oh. But he was just my dog is my dog right now. Tammy did his haircut so he looks like a sheep. It's so cute, right? He's so cute. And so and then my daughter, she has like a big, not a bean bag, but like a big soft pillow, a huge pillow, right? Like the size of my desk. And it's on the floor. So the dog was curled up like a sheep, looking like a sheep, sitting on top of this giant pillow. It was so cute. I wish I could have gotten a photo. He woke up and when you startle my dog, he attacks you, which is not great, right? And he'll bark and run at you. But then he realized it was me, and then he just by the time he didn't even wake up. He just like had his eyes closed, and he's like, "Rah!" And he came over to me. And by the time he got to me, because he realized it was me, like he had already found a way to like roll over onto his back and put his belly up so he could get pets. It was very silly. But anyway, he's fine. Everything's fine. My kid's at school. We're just doing expense reports for those of you who are just joining. Okay, so let's see here. Deal receipt. PDF. No, I don't want that one. I need this one. January 24th, 1936. Mm-mm. I think I'm. Okay. Got like 100 more. Taxi train. 117. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do I go to the office? No, I don't. I don't go to the office at all. I go to other people's offices all the time, right? Very commonly. But, you know, I'm either on the road in a plane elsewhere talking to other people, or, like for example, in 2019, right? Like I said, I did 650,000 miles on planes, right? So to the moon and back, and then some more, right? Um, and then and that meant that like if I was home, 2 or 3 weeks a year, that was a lot, right? I don't usually spend that much time at home, so um, so nobody tells me to then come to the office, right? That would be a waste. And now I work from home just because I've always worked from home. I'm a home employee, home office employee. So technically, this is my office. It's the commute is great, but I end up working more than you'd expect, right? Let's see, 116. I haven't done day-to-day commuting since 2010, basically. Okay. And that's true for the spring team. You know, most of us are remote. The spring team, you know, remember the spring team was built by. They wanted the best. They didn't care where they came from, right? So, like Jurgen, you know, Jurgen is in Austria, in Europe, right? So, what are you gonna do? Not hire him because he's not close to an American office or something like that? That didn't make sense. Jurgen is, you know, there's only one of him in the planet. You know, he's that good. Um, so we've always just sort of like, I'm not Jurgen, obviously, but I'm just saying the spring team, our DNA is we just didn't care where you worked. We were built for remote work from day one 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And so when the pandemic hit, for the spring team at least, nothing changed. We were already set up for software that way. We already knew what to do that way. We've always done. That's how we did it by default for decades. For me, it just meant I didn't get on planes as much. Let me think. We have to figure this out. This expense report is driving me nuts. Let me think. 2004. I need a receipt for that one. No, 2008. Okay, download that. Copy that link. Go to this, log in, hit enter. For those of you joining us today, appreciate you all being here. I'm just doing expense reports. Happy to hang out, happy to chat, happy to answer questions. Although I will say, right now, at this moment, as we're speaking, Marco Beller is giving a presentation. I think it started like 25 minutes ago, so it's probably halfway done. But that's on the SpringSource Dev channel, youtube.com /SpringSource Dev, or maybe it's R, I don't know, whatever, or C, I don't know. Go find that. Is my point. That's a good one if you want to learn about Spring. Come back tomorrow because we're going to definitely talk about Spring later today or tomorrow. But right now, I'm just having, what's the opposite of fun? I'm just doing whatever that is on camera. 2056. 2056. Download this receipt. Okay. Which frame you're planning to bootstrap framework? Any gap you can see that can help our community or any business segment? I don't understand what you mean. Are you going to be using Spring Boot? Let's see, 2056. Okay, taxi train. Okay, 67 more to go before this expense report is ready to go. Then there are other expense reports, but let's just get this done first. Uber, 2177. copy that link to here. Oh my god. Okay, what is this? 117. Okay, so now I'm looking for photos. This is like, I hate this process. I hate it so much. Like it's just feels like they could have done anything to make this better. But no. And by the way, you can't really blame them, right? Like, what's the alternative? If these aren't, if they need to be able to say, hey, this money was accounted for. I get it. So it's not like it's a systemic issue, you know. 17. There's no easy answer here. I just feel bad. Let's convert this image. Are you saying, I don't know, so you're trying to build a new tiny Java framework once start developing? Use Spring Boot. I wouldn't, there's no, I don't know. You can build a framework on top of Spring Boot, right? That would be much more effective. Let's see here. Use this. Battery seat. 117. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're doing good. We got a few dozen already. Just another 70 to go, and then this expense report is done, and then I can just do the other expense reports, and then maybe they'll get done. I don't know. Maybe they won't. Who knows? It's a mystery. It's unknowable. Maybe I'll still be here tomorrow. Oh man. And the worst part is I've got like 5,000 different browser tabs open, so it's getting hard to remember where to go. So other tabs. Okay. Okay. 22.23. Copy the link. Go to this browser. Oh. And if you're trying to contribute to Spring Boot, well, that's a different question, actually, now that I think of it. There are usually issues on these various open source projects like github.com spring-projects. Drink this coffee. No way. Sir, I know you jest, but please have a heart. Anyway, github.com spring-projects, open source. Go to the issues tab, and you'll find issues that have open for ideal for contribution or something like that, right? So those are good. It's okay, man. I'm just kidding. Let's see. Personal. Okay. But you're right. I would save time. I would save time because I would have to expense so much of this stuff. $22.99. Actually, you know what it is? There's always time for coffee. Thank you, Deepak. You're on my side. You know what the problem is? Starbucks has become the new gas station for me. So like 20 years ago, I would go into a Starbucks and get a cup of coffee. But then if I needed a bottle of water or a quick, bag of chips or snacks or whatever, or whatever, just basically everything except for coffee, I'd go to the gas station, right? Or the bodega, the little corner store. You go into one of those, right? And they usually have all that stuff in abundance. But now I can go into a Starbucks, I can get a little snack for lunch or breakfast or whatever. I can get my coffee, I can get a bottle of water, I can get like just everything, So I end up spending more than just a cup of coffee at Starbucks. You end up buying a bottle of water because you got to put it in your backpack. You got to buy, I don't know, whatever, it just adds up quickly. Employee meals while I'm traveling. Yeah, good. Personal Uber 2422. You know what would make me happy? Lunch. What do you think I should eat for lunch? This is like, I just got back from Texas, and I don't know if you've ever been to Texas. They have amazing barbecue. So good. So good. And I love barbecue. And we don't have barbecue in San Francisco. We don't have like Kansas style. We don't have New Orleans style. We don't have Texas style. We got nothing. We got a few places that claim to make good barbecue. And yes, it's pretty good for California, or for San Francisco, but it's just not the same as when you go to some place like that where they have an actual smoker, pit and all that stuff to make it. And yeah. So I don't want any meat right now. I'm mostly meat at the moment, and I want to have something slightly healthier. Let me think about this. It's got to be something to eat. Okay, so I'm gonna order some food. What do you think I should order? I wish I could show you my screen on my phone. I know there's a way to do it, but I'm not ready. Let's not figure it out right now. We've got enough yak shaving to do today. Do you know the expression yak shaving? Like to shave a yak, right? You get on a task, and then that requires you to do another task, and that requires another task, another task, another task, and the next thing you know, you're in a field somewhere with a giant yak, and you're shaving it for some reason, right? Yak shaving is no good. This whole expense report thing requires yak shaving. In order to do this, I need to do 5 other things before I can submit one expense. It's miserable. I am not vegetarian. I should be. I mean, it's obviously a lot healthier than what I'm doing, which is, gross. But I've been vegetarian before. That was a fun year and a half. Cholesterol went down. I was healthy again. Obviously a good idea. Okay. Wait, what? No way. That's annoying. Okay, Uber 24, 22, great. Got an Uber and a Starbucks bill that are both exactly the same price. Fun. I was vegetarian. It was healthy. I was still overweight, but I was healthy, right? Like I had no cholesterol, nothing like that. I was, and then I went to, and then like a decade later, in 2018, not a decade, yeah, actually close to a decade. Yeah, close, like almost 10-year difference. I did the keto diet, and that was for me the most success I've ever had with the diet. I lost, 60 pounds. 60 pounds. I mean, at one point I was, call it 56, 57 pounds. I mean, it was, what is that in kilos, right? 25. I lost 25 kilos in 6 months. Maybe it was 8 months. I don't know. It was so quick. Early 2018 until like end of summer 2018, and I kept it for. The only problem is I went on vacation. I went on vacation that winter on Christmas, and I undid, and it's all been downhill since then, right? Because I had a. What is Rogan Josh in lunch? Josh is everywhere. Haha. Oh yeah, thank you for joining that. I'm glad you got something in it. I hope you're not expecting that with this session today right now, because I'm just doing expense reports. It's the worst use of anybody's time. Yours, mine, all of us. It's just it's the opposite. I'd much prefer to be writing code. I code really fast only because I'm using Spring, but that's because Spring is easy, right? There's just very few moving parts and it's easy to think about. But I couldn't do what I do with like COBOL or something like that, right? That would be terrible. But yeah, thanks for joining. I'm glad you got something out of it. I hope you will subscribe to this channel. Trust me, most streams aren't this terrible. They're not great, but they're not this terrible either, This is just me doing expense reports because somebody's got to. Okay, let's see. IntelliJ does help a lot. That's true. Yeah, if you know what buttons to push, it'll do the right thing very quickly. Gets out of your way. You don't have to use a mouse for most of it. Sometimes I use the mouse and I'm like, I could do better. I know it doesn't require that. I know it's my fault that I don't know, Yeah, IntelliJ is awesome. Absolutely. Good stuff. Okay, what am I doing? I just need to 24, 22. That's this one, 24, 51. What about that one? Did I lose it already? I lost it already. Where did I put it? Desktop. Downloads. So this one, yeah. Like, I'm just trying to get all these submitted. I have so much more to do, but if I just get this batch done, then I'll probably end the stream and go get some lunch myself because I'm starving. So I'm gonna try and plow through this. This is only like if I do all of this terrible work, it'll add up to like $900. That's it. That's all I'm doing. Let me move this to a different expense. No, available expenses. Yes. Okay. So no, that's not true. $2,000. So if I do all these expenses right now, in the next, like, let's say half an hour, right? So set alarm for half an hour.
Set the alarm for when?
30 minutes.
Done.
Okay. So I'm gonna set my alarm. I'm gonna see if I can knock out these expenses, and then that'll be like January, or no, it'll be the last part of January. Oh boy. Okay, let's do this. Let's just get it done. Okay. Power through it. So I need an expense report. I need a ticket or a receipt, whatever, for this one. It is Uber. Save. Good. I need this one for $25.76. It's Uber Eats. Oh. Okay. Another one done. 30.36. So annoying. Well, rat. Oh, there it is. Found it. Oh dear. This might be terrible. Am I walking? Actually, okay. Here we go. Do you know what is the mix between an alligator and a vest. Got a bad feeling about this, Big Mike, but what is it? Oh! I'm going to tell my daughter that one, and she's going to not talk to me for like 5 minutes. It's going to be terrible, but also great. An investigator. Yes. Thank you. Have you all watched The Last of Us, the new TV show? Or even played the games? The first one in particular? It's great. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but there's a little girl. It's a dad joke. I love it. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to tell my kid. But there's a little girl in the show, and they're in like a dystopic zombie apocalypse kind of future. And oh yeah, there you go. Is that from Last of Us? Yeah, she always tells these great like puns, and they're just so achingly bad. They're so bad that it's great. I mean, the whole show is amazing, right? Amazing, but yeah. If that explains why it's so terrible, is because it's from Ellie in the show. Which by the way, again, I can't stress this enough. Go watch it. Like I if you want to smile, if you want to feel human again for a minute after expense reports or whatever, watch those episodes if you can. Did I do that correctly? Where is that expense? Okay, good. I'm happy. 2817. We're making progress. Things are going faster. I'm just getting into the rhythm. Not a good rhythm, not a happy one. More like if you had a machine that could punch you in the face at the same speed and same velocity, that kind of a rhythm, But it's still a rhythm. We're still making progress. I'm not exactly proud of it, but it's happening. Okay. What? From whom? Okay. 30.68. Is that book real? Do you know, Big Mike? That joke book that she's got in the show is real? Because I'd buy a copy of that. I'd buy both editions. I didn't get a chance to like look it up now that I think of it. But when I saw her reading, when they showed the cover, I was like, oh, I need this book. Yeah, you gotta watch that show. Like that show was it's something beautiful. I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting a zombie video game show, right? Like the first Super Mario Brothers live action movie from the 90s. I was expecting it to be on that level basically, and it's something else. It is phenomenal. Really, really, really well done. And it's not just Pedro Pascal, not just the big name star. It's Bella, whatever, and and that episode with Nick Offerman was oh my god, yeah. There's some. It's nice to know you can be surprised by TV and mass media these days. It's really a beautiful, beautiful freaking show. Amazing. Hey, Big Mike, enough. Don't. Have you played the game? Like, no spoilers or anything, but yeah. Okay, let's see. So that's this. I just. Okay, I did it. Okay, so whatever this one. Yeah, you got to play the game. The game is, well, how old are you? I'm 40. I'm 39. I'll be 40 next year, I guess, but I don't think we're that old. But yeah, I just started playing video games for the first time in 2018. That's not true. I played video games in the 80s. That was the last time my family had games or the money for the games or that I had time for the games, right? But 2018, I decided I'm going to get one of those new Game Boys, and it turns out they don't make those anymore. So then I went off and got the Nintendo Switch and played Zelda Breath of the Wild, and that changed my life. That's an amazing game. Let me see here. And my uncle, God bless him, he's in his 70s. His wife passed away. Rest in peace, Aunt Sharon. His wife, my aunt, passed away last year. And he's a big comic book fan. He's not like he's never been too adult to appreciate sci-fi and pop culture and all that stuff, but he never really played games. And so now that he's got more free time, he's just been taking up video games now in his 70s. He just started this year, just got one of them newfangled Xboxes. He's such a great guy. 31. Oops, I made a math. RetroPie, isn't that the emulation on a Raspberry Pi? Is that what you're talking about? I think I've seen something like that. RetroPies. Wait, what? No, that's not right at all. Remove that. That's the wrong one. I accidentally. I can't just like cruise control. I need to like focus. What? So how come I've got this receipt? What is this receipt? 3132. There it is. I mean, I don't. So I kind of like old games, but I never had a strong connection to them, even when they were new, right? Like I said, I was just not much of a gamer most of my life, and the last time I was well, Reagan was still president. Like it's been a minute. I never really got into them, and I never had the ability to. We had a regular Nintendo Entertainment System, and we were glad to have it. But whoops. Yeah, I wouldn't mind trying the old ones. I bought one of those. They have those retro. Same idea, I think. Nintendo released like a very small form factor Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64 and Nintendo NES, SNES, and 64. And basically, it was like a little tiny. It might have been a Raspberry Pi. Who knows? It was so small, and it was like it was this big. Whereas the old Nintendo system of yore was a shoebox, right? Very big device, heavy. And this was just like USB-C. It was great. Or maybe it's like mini USB. I don't know, but it was, and it was preloaded with like 100 games, and that's it. You couldn't add more. You couldn't take away them. You just had to use what they gave you. But that's okay. It was plenty there to play with. Okay, we're almost there, friends. We've just got like 1,000 more things to do, and then I'll be done with this. Okay, 116. Do I have a 116? What happened when you tried to convert to native? Did you watch that video of mine, by the way? Like, there's a lot of questions that might be able to help you there. A lot of answers to questions you might have. Yeah, there's a lot. Like I said, there's a lot of considerations when you're trying to move to native. Like, you need to understand reflection, JNI, resource loading, proxy, serialization, all that stuff. And you need to use the various hints that we expose, the various Spring AOT engine callbacks, like the bean factor initialization AOT processor, and the bean registry definition AOT processor, and the at import runtime hints, and runtime hints registrar callbacks. All that stuff is, if you don't account for that, you're going to have pain. 16. Is your app like public? Can I look at it? I wonder if there's a. I wonder if I could do that as a stream. I would love to do like a, bring your own app and we can try and go native with it, or at least parts of it that are failing. If you can extract something out that reasonably reproduces what you're trying to do, but that is failing in the same way that you're experiencing. Let me know. Let me know if you have something. I'd love to maybe we could do a live stream where I convert with you the code. Let's see here. Only if you can upload it. If it's like company proprietary, or don't upload it. I don't want to see it. I don't need to see it. Just show me what you can show me without getting either of us in trouble. Yeah, I don't upload your app, just a representation of it. Okay. 32, 36. It feels like Friday. It's not Friday, but it feels like it, and I want it to be Friday, but I know, like, actually I don't want it to be Friday because I want to get one more video done this week. But on the other hand, because I got home early from Texas yesterday, like I came home a day earlier, so because of that, my brain thinks it's Friday because I'm supposed to come home on Thursday. Okay. Oh, game. Okay, that sounds like fun. What kind of game? Are you using lots of like desktop AWT and stuff like that? Because that's not going to be great in Gravium. Oops, that's the wrong one. This one. Share the link. You can't post it on the chat for some reason. Would you send it to me on, I don't know, Twitter, something like that would be fine. My at Starbucks man, and just say this is Big Mike, and I'll take a look at it in a bit, or maybe I'll try and get it to today. Probably we might be able to, if I can just finish this expense report, just one. We'll take a little break. We'll look at some code, and then I'll go end the stream and have some lunch, and maybe I'll pick it up later to continue my expense receipt-a-thon. You need to use Java 17, buddy. Anish, I'm sorry, man. Spring Framework 6 and Spring Boot 3.0 require Java 17. Jakarta EE11 is going to require Java 21, right? Like 21, like there's no reason to be using Java 11. The future is already here for you, 32. And I would love to know what's causing your troubles that you're stuck on Java 11. I would love to have, maybe I can help. Like, please. There's not always a solution, but usually it doesn't get better unless you talk about it, Yeah, okay, that's right. Yeah, Spring Framework 6 requires Java 17. And, Java, by the way, March 20th, they're going to introduce Java 20. So you're going to be 9 versions at that point, 9 official GA supported versions behind when you're using Java 11 in just less than a month, like 3 weeks from now. You'll be 9 versions behind. Why is that okay? It doesn't feel okay for anybody. It's an extra burden for people who are building frameworks. It's an extra burden for you as an organization because you're being left behind. It's an extra burden for you because you're not getting to use the most productive syntax and features. It's a burden for your users because they're paying more to run your software, I'm sure, right? That cost bubbles up to them at some point. The infrastructure to run software inefficiently gets parlayed into the customer somewhere. It's just a bad deal everywhere, all around. Let's see. I just want this expense report. I'll be so happy when this is all done and behind me. I also need to book travel. That's another thing, right? Like, well, tell the enterprise to stop like sabotaging themselves. Like, what are the constraints? And by the way, why does the enterprise get to dictate the whole version of Java? It's not like it's hard to have a dual path where people who want to move forward can, and people who are Luddites can stay on Java 11. Save link as. No, I want to copy link. Oh, copy link. 3246. Wait, what? 127. Wrong one. I love record and I love text blocks. And yeah, like, and for somebody who's already doing reactive, Loom isn't that interesting to me. It is interesting. Obviously, I cannot wait to have it. But like fundamentally, the thing that makes a day-to-day difference in my life right now are records and text blocks. Those are huge features and they're already here. They've been here for years, you know? Like it's just demoralizing. You know how demoralizing it was to write SQL and you had to do quote plus new line, quote plus new line, quote plus new line. Or copy this link. 3246. What's the issue here? I mean, Big Mike, whatever you want, my friend. I public is good if you can do that, but if you're worried about somebody else taking it, then that's also possible. I would just again remember I have no interest in your private IP or anything like that. But if there's any court concerns, I would just extract that out to a reproducer, a small thing. Let's see, 32. Why does this keep saying? Oh, that's right. Okay. Okay. Did that work? Are we happy? No, still unhappy. Train. Save. For those of you just joining us, I'm so sorry. You have made a terrible decision. I'm doing expense reports. It's there are better things to do today. I know that. But and look at somebody even said, look, it's sunny outside. And yeah, if I put on a hoodie, I could go outside and have some fun. But instead, I'm here doing expense reports. And you, my friends, are the only reason I'm having any fun at all. So thank you. But just bear in mind, this is probably not going to be the talk you're looking for. Oh, Marco's finished. Well, see, I told you that was going to be good. I hope you had fun. Like, remember, I looked out for you for at least 1 hour. Let's see, 33. Mm-hmm. Oops. Oh. Well, okay. He must have a reason. I don't know what the reason is. He said it's slow. Maybe he was just thinking of something else. I don't know. What am I doing? I am slow today. Show all windows. Cool view from my window. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's San Francisco. I live in San Francisco. It's a occasionally very beautiful city. Not always, but just enough that I feel very lucky to be here, And I don't know if you've ever been to San Francisco. There are two bridges. The Bay Bridge and the Golden Gate Bridge. The Golden Gate Bridge is the famous one, but the Bay Bridge is used far more often, right? It's the main thoroughfare, the main artery in and out of the city from the East Bay. Because remember, if you think about San Francisco is a peninsula. So we kind of jut out from the continent, and there's this little hanging thing, and that's the San Francisco Peninsula. And then you've got the East Bay, which is the part of the mainland in east of San Francisco, and that's where the rest of the country is. Right, we're connected. We're not an island, obviously. We're a peninsula, but San Francisco is surrounded by water on the left and the right, and so yeah, I live right next to the Bay Bridge, and you can go to my balcony over there in that direction. I have a balcony in the other room, in the living room, and you can see the Bay Bridge, and you've got the skyscrapers here, and but if you go to my living room, you can also see Twin Peaks, which is like, there's not a lot of skyscrapers that way. It's just all hills and stuff. It's such a weird city. You can have it has many different dimensions. Cheers from Serbia. Wow. Hi. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. Welcome. Cheers from San Francisco. If you're joining me right now, I'm sorry. I'm just doing expense reports. Oh, my half-hour clock already went off. Okay, another half hour. Set alarm for half hour.
It's turned on.
Thank you. Okay, so... Yeah, that 30 minutes turned into... Use the Jot support that comes with the Spring Security OAuth 2 resource server. Absolutely, yeah. There's examples of that. It's much simpler to just take a OAuth token, a Jot token, and do that. Okay. Okay. What am I doing here? I need an expense of 33. Okay. I'm like, okay, it doesn't feel like it's going to ever end. I'm just going to keep going. 34 to 93. What do you think? Should I just get lunch? It's already 12:18. I had like a bagel at 7 o'clock in the morning. It's now noon, and I need some coffee and some food. And I don't know if I'm going to get through this. I guess I could do the next half hour, but wouldn't you all rather have your nights back? I think that's probably better. Let's call it good for now, my friends. What do you think? We'll call it good, and I'll call it okay. Like I've successfully prepared more than a couple $1,000s in expense reports, and I am, it's not like there's a lot of money on the line here. It's just a lot of small bill expenses, and it's going to take forever. So I just got to do it. Yeah, a beer sounds. I'm more of a cocktail human being, but yeah, either way, I'm with you. Have an adult beverage, but I got to get through it. I got to get through this, and then I can relax. I'll feel better. I've got to do this, plus I got to book some travel, tentatively, and that's not fun either. That's going to involve travel agents and stuff. That's going to involve phone calls. So have a great day, everybody. Good night. Wish me luck. Hopefully, I won't still be doing this tomorrow and the weekend and the day after that and all that. Bye, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it.